Hello, my loves. Before I get started today's video, I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Ask Kirby. If you guys haven't heard of Ask Kirby, it's basically the Ratchet Reddit. I literally come out here to ridicule and judge and give my opinion on people's opinions. You know, people come on here to anonymously ask for advice, give advice, and it's always a good time because scrolling through here makes me realize that I'm not as fucked up as the people in the world. The funniest part about a lot of these stories that people put on Ask Kirby is the fact that a lot of people feel comfortable sharing their intimate lives. Some girl came on here asking for advice about the coronavirus and how to survive, and I had to give her the real answer, and this is basically what I said. So this is how fun this app is. I get to literally tell people how stupid they are. It's anonymous, so you can come on here. There's no sign up or anything. It's available on Apple and Android, and you could probably get advice from me, or I could probably be asking you for advice. So check out Ask Kirby if you guys are interested.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi, my loves! It's Destin Troyce, and you're watching TROYCETV. Now, for today's video, I'm basically going to be talking about the whole Nick Cannon situation, and I'm sure a lot of you guys haven't fucking heard, because a lot of people don't really care about the whole Eminem versus Nick Cannon beef anymore, because it was so dragged out for so long. You know, Nick Cannon came out with 3 struggle diss tracks that Eminem refused to reply to, and basically Eminem still hasn't responded, and Nick Cannon is still going on press runs and doing interviews. He went on DJ Vlad's YouTube channel to address him and Eminem's beef, and basically this is what he had to say.
Of his racist song.
Very racist.
Black girls are
racist.
bitches, black girls are dumb.
Yeah.
You kind of kept playing that over and over again.
Yeah, black girls are bitches, black girls are dumb. He calls them hoes, and like it goes, he tells you don't trust them, white girls are better, white girl, like, oh, if you listen to the entire song, it's clearly a song where he's blatantly disrespecting black queens.
Sometimes mixed, but black girls only want your money cause they're dumb chicks. So I'm black girls and white girls just don't mix because black girls are dumb and white girls are good chicks. Cause black girls, I really don't like, we don't mix. I'll get straight to the point, black girls are bitches.
Not beating around the bush. The hook, what he said is black girls are bitches and black girls are dumb.
Now, the reason Nick Cannon is talking about this is because when Nick Cannon dropped his diss track to Eminem called Cancelled, he decided to use Eminem's song, Black Girls, as the hook. And here it is.
He been disrespecting our queens for years. Matter of fact, won't you tell him how you really feel, Marshall?
Black girls are bitches, black girls are dumb. What? Black girls are
our queens don't need your racism. You the KKK, the generation of KKK, that'll take it to.
The hook, what he said is black girls are bitches and black girls are dumb. They only want your money.
Well, here's what I heard back in the day. And, you know, this can't be verified, but I'm going to throw it out in the universe anyways. Yeah. Fuck it. I knew people from Aftermath Records.
Yeah.
Back in the early Eminem days when this actually came out.
Right.
And from what this guy told me was that there was actually more records.
Yeah, where he's saying nigga and all that shit.
Yeah, like calling black people monkeys and stuff like that, to the point where I think Interscope or Aftermath had to step in and buy these guys out.
Bottom line, I don't give a fuck. That one alone.
That one alone.
should be enough. And then we're in this whole cancel culture. But again, I put that out purposely as a social experiment to say, all right, I'm going to do a couple light jabs. I'm going to see. But then I'm going to put this out. And I'm going to see. And it hurts my heart to sit there and watch people defend it. And you know what the biggest defense was? He already apologized for that. Motherfucker, what? Oh, because a racist apologized? Shit, the motherfuckers apologized in the time to kill when Samuel L. Jackson's daughter was raped. Just because a racist person apologizes, oh, then they don't have to pay no that's your consequences? Saying I'm sorry? No, because first of all, and you know what his apology was? Probably the weakest apology ever. I was young, and I had a black girlfriend. This is what he said. I had a black girlfriend who cheated on me, and I was mad. Doesn't that sound familiar? That sounds like familiar behavior, right? Because apparently he was mad at Mariah for lying on him. So therefore he can call her all kind of bitches and hoes and cunts and all of that type of stuff. So, when this white man gets angry, it's fair game. He can talk and say whatever the fuck he wants to say about black girls as long as he apologizes when he's no longer angry. Where one person has an oppressive mentality and feels they're better than another group of people and has an oppressor's position to say what he said. Then there's institutional racism, where there's a mindset and a system set up to where he no longer has to pay consequences because of his level of oppression.
Eminem basically came up around the 1980s, 1988, back when he was in high school. But he didn't really get anywhere in the industry. Back when he was 17, he was still trying to make it somewhere, but a lot of people kept dubbing him. And then eventually, as the 90s passed and as the early 2000s ended up creeping by, started to become known as that new white rapper. A lot of people started taking him seriously. His music started selling, and he released his huge, massive album, Slim Shady. And Eminem did a lot of racist things back in the day. Now, if you guys didn't know, Eminem back in 1988 made a song called Fool's Joy. And basically in this song, he dissed black women and said that black women were bitches and that they were gold diggers. And he basically reinforced a ton of stereotypes about black women. Now, you can see why this stirred a lot of controversy, because Eminem is a white man with white privilege and he's a rapper. Now, after that, he did face a lot of backlash, but he did end up addressing it, and this is what he said when he addressed it back in the day. The tape was something I made out of anger, stupidity, and frustration. When I was a teenager, I just broken up with my girlfriend who was African American, and I reacted like the angry, stupid kid I was. I hope people will take it for foolishness that it was, not for what somebody is trying to make it into today. And then after that, he ended up addressing it again and apologizing on his huge, highly anticipated album back in 2004 called Encore in his song Yellow Brick Road. And he basically apologized to black people and black women and basically said, look, it don't matter what color you are, a woman could be a hoe regardless of her color, and I apologized. So a lot of people ended up forgiving him and giving him a pass for that shit. Which was shocking and respectable because, in my opinion, I believe a racist can change. I know a lot of people love to disagree when I say this, but I believe if someone is racist, they can change. I don't think someone could be racist forever. And I'm not with the mindset of once a racist, always a racist. I believe that somebody can grow from changed behavior, a pattern of changed behavior, and somebody can grow as an individual if they hold themselves accountable. And he held himself accountable and he addressed it on his highly double platinum album, Encore. Now, fast forward from 2004 to now, Nick Cannon decided to reignite that last month. He decided to bring up and resurface the diss track of Eminem dissing black women. And I love Nick Cannon. You know, we all grew up on Nick Cannon, and Nick Cannon has the right to hold Eminem accountable. But, you know, Nick Cannon's always been cringy and corny to a lot of us. You know, to the newer generation, a lot of y'all see Nick Cannon all wilding out. But for a lot of us who grew up in the earlier 2000s, we remember Nick from the Nick Cannon Show, all that. Love Don't Cost a Thing. You know, Nick Cannon's always been a corny-ass, cringy comedian. As you can see in this interview, Nick Cannon's trying to defend black women, and he says, nah, don't come for our black queens, and so on and so forth.
A song where he's blatantly disrespecting black queens, not beating around the bush.
My reaction after watching Nick Cannon defend black women and say in his song, oh, you wanted to come for our black queens, this was my reaction after seeing his recent interview with DJ Vlad. Are you fucking serious? Right message, wrong horse. We live in a world where now, if somebody can rap, sing, or dance, anybody will give him a pass, or sometimes people will defend him. Like R. Kelly. You know, I like R. Kelly's music, and I'm not throwing away my damn R. Kelly CDs, but at the same time, I'm still going to hold people like R. Kelly accountable. I'm still going to hold people like Chris Brown accountable for disrespecting black women and so on and so forth. But I find it funny how Nick Cannon wants to say, nah, you ain't going to come for my black queens like that. Nick Cannon isn't as innocent as a lot of you guys may think he is. Now, if you guys didn't know, Nick Cannon has said some pretty problematic shit in the past.
Right. And you know any Latinos on there? Yeah. Think hard. Think
All the wildin' out girls.
Oh,
because as we know, most Latinas
They're so hot. They're so fire.
They fly.
Brown skinned women.
Look
on
what I see,
there.
and it's always the brown skin,
You filming
angry woman.
now?
My mama's
hold
a
on
brown skin
second.
woman.
You're filming in New York City, and
Right.
all of the wild and out chicks that you have in there are Latin
Or light skin.
Women of color,
Or
fine.
white.
But no. Nick, I'm so serious with you right now.
I know you are.
You gotta
so I'm not looking
represent.
at you.
You have to represent.
Black queens, huh?
It's clearly a song where he's blatantly disrespecting black queens. As we know, most Latinas
It's so hot. It's so fire.
It ain't fire.
Brown skinned women
Look
on
what I see,
there.
and it's always the brown skinned,
Oh, you filming
angry woman.
now?
My mama's
hold
a
on
brown skinned
second.
woman.
You're filming in New York City.
So when I saw that, I was just like, Nick Cannon is so full of shit, especially because I understand he's only pulling the whole race card only because he wants to do it to his own benefit. And I'm really tired of people only wanting to play the black card for their own benefit. You know, you see it all the time. You see it with fucking people like Justin Bieber. You see it with people like fucking so many people. You see people who want a little bit of flavor and a little bit of spice and a little bit of Cajun seasoning on their side, try to pull the black woman card or pull the black people card in order to get people on their side.
Real tragic. And it's black bitches that do it the most. And I don't give a fuck if y'all mad at me using that fucking hashtag.
In order to go against the other side. And it's really disturbing. Now, I feel like Nick Cannon was using black outrage specifically to target Eminem because, you know, in his song, he did say that Eminem was the modern day KKK. And he also said that Eminem is a racist and he's a part of institutionalized racism. But I find it funny how you say that Eminem is a part of institutionalized racism and you don't like the fact that he disrespected black queens, but then you try to turn it into a whole Mariah thing.
Mad. Doesn't that sound familiar? That sounds like familiar behavior, right? Because apparently he was mad at Mariah for lying on him. So therefore he can call her all kind of bitches and hoes and cunts and all of that type of stuff. So, when this white man gets angry, it's fair game. He can talk and say whatever the fuck he wants to say about black girls as long as he apologizes when he's no longer angry.
And then you also try to turn it into a whole, nah, he's a racist because she just respected the black queens. And then, you know, DJ Vlad also tried to piggyback off of it and was being biased and was like, yeah, that's messed up. Yeah. In reality, we all know DJ Vlad does not like Eminem. I feel like Nick Cannon is full of shit, especially because of what he said regarding the diversity amongst Wild 'N Out girls, you know. And then he had the nerve to call a black woman right in front of him. There's always that one angry, dark skin. I was like, whoa. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Nick Cannon's a comedian. I understand, I respect he's a comedian, but some things you just don't do. You know, it's one thing to sit up here and to try to play the whole black card into race bait in order to get some sympathy. I just didn't like the fact that Nick Cannon felt like it was reasonable to try to play the black card in order to call Eminem racist. It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me, and I think Eminem is, he's condemnable, he's allowed to be held accountable, and he is on some bullshit for doing that. Even though he did apologize, people can still hold him accountable, but I don't like that Nick Cannon thinks that he can sit up here and try to be a hypocrite. Like, it's just like, the hypocrisy of this whole situation is disgusting, and I think it's really, really weird how a lot of people are trying to defend Nick and saying, yeah, I agree with Nick. But at the same time, a lot of people, the majority in general, is just against Nick because Nick is a trash artist, and when it comes to Eminem, everybody's gonna side with Eminem. You know, Eminem has said some fucking crazy ass shit. He has talked about how he was gonna kill some woman and pee on her and a whole bunch of extra shit. Eminem has said some homophobic shit. Like, it's crazy the shit that Eminem used to do back in the day. Man, it's crazy how you want to hold Eminem accountable for disrespecting your black queens, my black queens. But why don't you hold the other rappers that you follow, love, and are friends with accountable? I mean, you're friends with Chris Brown, and when Chris Brown disrespected a black dark-skinned woman and said that he doesn't allow dark-skinned girls in his section, allegedly, where the fuck was you at, bitch?
Your rules was no darkies. You wouldn't let my homegirl in LA, but you let all her friends in. And in Miami, you wouldn't let my other homegirl in, but you let all her friends in. But y'all was talking about no dark-skinned women. All I'm saying is, like a gangster, how you feel staying on that shit.
Same thing with Kodak Black. Kodak Black said some fuck shit about black women. Where the fuck were you at? I didn't see you. I didn't see you at all. And I think it's kind of funny how he loves to pull the black outrage card for his own advantage, and I'm not falling for that shit. Because, you know, the masses in general, if you can rap and sing, like I said, people are going to give you a pass. People give rappers a pass for every fucking thing. And I feel like when Nick Cannon said that a lot of people have selective outrage, he has a very good point. Because it's kind of funny how he disrespects black women and black people. Where's the activism at? Where's the activists? Where's the holding him accountable? Where's cancel culture? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Where y'all at? Because I don't see any of it. So I feel like a lot of people are just very biased towards Eminem, and then a lot of people try to turn it into a whole, well, Eminem stood up against Trump, and he said he's standing with us. Get the fuck out of here, y'all. I don't like how people like to make excuses for Eminem. It's fine to be a fan of somebody, but then when you make excuses for somebody's bullshit, that already shows that you're part of the problem. So stop with the whole, well, that's old stuff, that's old stuff. Well, some of the shit R. Kelly did was old stuff, but people still hold him accountable anyways. Some of the shit Harvey Weinstein did was fucked up, and people still hold him accountable anyways. And that's not even to compare the two. I mean, people like Guns N' Roses, they said a lot of fuck shit on their music before about black people and about gay people and about women in general, and people don't hold them accountable. So I'm not even surprised that people have selective outrage. This is something that really much exists, and Nick Cannon did have a very good point. And I just feel like Nick Cannon is trying to profit off of the selective outrage that people have. And I think Nick Cannon, before he tries to, come for Eminem, I think it's funny how the people who usually... I always try to keep a lookout for people who like to throw stones and hide their hands. Eminem's diss track was a catastrophe. But so are all the other male rappers. All the other male rappers disrespect black women all the time.
And it hurts my heart to sit there and watch people defend it. And you know what the biggest defense was? He already apologized for that. It's clearly a song where he's blatantly disrespecting black queens.
So Nick Cannon, shut up! Stop with the whole, oh, it was just a social experiment just to test people. Because it wasn't a social experiment. You wanted to profit off of black outrage for your own selfish gain. Nick Cannon is not one of those men that we can trust when it comes to trying to stick up for the people and trying to be there for the people. And I think a lot of people are riding on Nick Cannon's coattail because he was one of the few celebrities to publicly defend and stick by Gabrielle Union when she did get discriminated against and she did get fired for racism and race discrimination. And when America's Got Talent told Gabrielle Union that her hair was too black and her hairstyles were too edgy and too much. Your favorite rappers, believe it or not, are misogynists, criminals, rapists, murderers, and most of your favorite rappers are part of sex trafficking rings, but that's another video. And a lot of y'all never hold them accountable anyways. So I wouldn't be surprised that a lot of people wouldn't hold Eminem accountable. It's perfectly fine to be a fan of somebody, but let's not excuse cockroach behavior. Let's hold and condemn cockroach behavior accountable and out to the forefront. Let's grill people when they need to be grilled, but let's not choose who you want to be canceled. And this is why I don't respect cancel culture in general. And I know people love to say, but you're a part of cancel culture. I'm really fucking not. I've spoke out against cancel culture several times, and I don't like the fact that cancel culture has become something that's so toxic. Like, it's become something that's so saturated. It's so saturated by grown-ass fucking refrigerator-built bitches and raggedy-ass niggas who want to come on here and say, canceled, 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 just to fit their own benefits. Some people will literally cancel somebody just for fucking existing. So at the end of the day, when it comes to cancel culture and them not being anywhere to be found when Eminem dissed black women, I'm not surprised. But when you're going around, trying to spread narratives and trying to, spread blatant misinformation just to reach your own benefit, that's when you're trying to fuck with forces that you can't control. So I don't fuck with what Nick Cannon did, even though I got love for Nick Cannon. But, like, what the fuck? Come on, Nick. Come on. Some people try to condemn Nick Cannon for doing whiteface and saying, but Nick Cannon, what about when your black ass did whiteface? Isn't that racism towards us white people? Because white people don't play about their own. White people are literally at Nick Cannon's neck for this shit. And the hip-hop community in general are toxic. A whole bunch of toxic, dusty-ass men who literally stream and replay all this music that does nothing but destroy the culture. Don't get me wrong. The music's great. But at the same time, a lot of times people allow the music that gets released to provoke their own thinking. And it's really disgusting that some people can't think for themselves just because they have a favorite rapper. Some people try to condemn Nick Cannon and say, but what about when Nick Cannon did whiteface? Why don't we hold Nick Cannon for doing whiteface? Hold him accountable? First of all, there's no such thing as whiteface. As much as white people want to be oppressed, there's no such thing as whiteface. It doesn't exist. There's no history. There's no cultural backing, and it plays no role in white supremacy, and it plays no role in trying to belittle white people, and whiteface plays no role and will never play a role in reinforcing negative stereotypes in the media. So, yeah, shut the fuck up. And people hold me accountable all the time. When I say shit like white people don't season their food, and when I say fuck shit like white America has no fucking culture, all they have is fucking KKK and, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I'm just like, there's no such thing as racism towards white people, okay? It just doesn't exist. There's no such thing as racism towards white people. Because at least Eminem apologized for disrespecting black women. Nick Cannon still hasn't. But anyways, that was that for this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Give your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know what y'all think about this whole situation. Do y'all think Nick Cannon is doing too much? Do y'all think he's on some fuck-ass clout-chasing bullshit? Do y'all think Eminem is condemnable? What do y'all think about a lot of this? Because it's kind of fucked up, because I know a lot of you guys are probably annoyed and heartbroken at Eminem, considering that he did this black women. But he did decide to address it in his album, which was a huge album, which a lot of people listened to, so I'm sure a lot of people did hear the apology. Nick Cannon ain't innocent his damn self, so I really want to know y'all personal thoughts, and these are just mine. So yeah, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys click that card marshal link, because I get paid per click, per commission. If you guys want to, you guys can join my Patreon. It's as low as $2. And I have a podcast if you guys want to listen to it. It's available on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, a whole bunch of platforms. So please be sure to check my description and subscribe there. And yeah, that was that for this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Trace out this bitch. I'm going to fuck to sleep and I'm going to go eat my salad. Shine the light over there. Gonna fix something that you can't turn, but you can't turn. It's the soul that needs a surgery. Pretty heart, shine the light over every door. Perfection.